Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So last month I made a video talking about the books that I will be reading for the rest of the summer once I finished a certain book. Well, as this past month progressed, I impulsively bought some new books, as well as my summer read list changed up a little bit. Not completely, but it did change up a little bit. And I am gonna talk about that for this week's video, as well as give a review on the book that I just finished. So to start, I thought I would review the book that I just finished, which is the Crown of Gilded Bones. It is book 3 in the From Blood and Ash series, and all I can say is that this book exceeded my expectations, especially after what happens in the second book. This book, as well as like the second book, this book picks up right where we finish in the second book. We learn so much more about Poppy, about her backstory. A lot of things take place in this book that make me fall in love with the characters even more, and you get to know each character more in depth, which is what I personally really liked. Like Poppy, we figure out what has been causing her powers, what her bloodline is. Basically, we find out where she comes from, you know, who she is. We find out so much more about her. Castile, he's developed and grown a lot. I don't want to spoil anything, but he takes on a role that in the very first book he didn't want to take to begin with, but he takes on a role, and just so much happens with each character, with Poppy, with Castile, with Kieran, with every single character that you get to know throughout this series grows and develops. And I honestly forgot how old Poppy was until she brings it up again in this book. Like, it's just incredible to see. We get to meet Castile's parents in this book. I apologize for that spoiler, but yes, spoiler alert, we meet Castile's parents. We get to see, well, I guess imagine where Castile comes from as we read this book. And there's just so much in this book that we find out, especially about Poppy. Like, the second book focused a lot on trying to figure out where Poppy came from, like what's her background. Like, everybody's questioning like why she has these specific powers that she has. The third book answers those questions and more. So it was just so interesting to see how Poppy handles what she hears, how she finds out her heritage, her background, who she is, and why she has the powers that she has. It's just incredible to see. I've grown to like Poppy more and more. Like, this book made me like her even more. The first book, I thought she was really annoying and arrogant, especially when she asked so many questions. Like, it was just annoying. But she's grown so much within the last 2 books. She grew so much more in this book, and I've grown to like her and appreciate her so much more. Yeah, there's just so much in this book that I really want to talk about, but if you guys haven't read it yet, I don't want to spoil it. All I can say is that there's just so much in this book to talk about and to unpack with each character. And if you guys have not read the From Blood and Ash series, I highly recommend reading it. Like, this book series is probably one of my favorite fantasies as of right now. I have so many other fantasy books in my TBR list that I have to read, but as of right now, this series has become my favorite. And I know in the other video that I made last month talking about the books that I plan on reading. I did mention that I was going to read this one immediately after finishing the third book. This is the War of Two Queens, which is the fourth book in the series. However, I found out I am a part of a Facebook group that is just dedicated to readers, to books, for people to talk about, you know, like books and whatnot. So I posted the books that I would be reading on that Facebook group, and come to find out that I am supposed to read, oh, what's that other book called? I believe it's called, what's it called? This author usually has that book in the back. Here we go. So I found out through someone in the Facebook group letting me know that before I read the fourth book, I am supposed to read the prequel, which is in the Flesh and Fire series called The Shadow and the Ember, which apparently gives more of the backstory of the From Blood and Ash series that I'm reading. And if I were to read this book before reading the prequel, that a lot of the stuff in this book won't make sense. And clearly I don't have the prequel book, so I haven't read it. And after I finished the Crown of Gilded Bones, I was thinking of starting this one right away, but I thought about it, I slept on it overnight, and I thought, you know, I'll give myself a little break from this series, and then I'll come back to it after summer break, after summer vacation, once the fall season starts, which to me, fall starts in September. My birthday's in September, so what I'm going to do is, take a break from the From Blood and Ash series for a little bit, come back to it so that way I can have a new appreciation and more excitement for this series. And hopefully by the time September comes around, I have my hands on the prequel so I can read that and then read this one afterwards. So that is my little update on this series. Just kind of gonna take a break from it, read other stuff before I continue with this one and the prequel. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, the books to add to my summer reading list, and I'll put a card right around here in this video to the video that I made last month about the books that I want to read in these next few months. But to update on that, I am currently reading Verity from Colleen Hoover. It is my second book that I read of this author, and I am just about halfway through it, and it is really, really good. It's supposed to be, or it is more of like a thriller book where it keeps you guessing, suspecting like what's going on. Like the situation that the main character is in is very suspicious. For those of you who have read it, you guys know what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, I highly recommend reading this book. It's normally not my cup of tea when it comes to thriller books, mystery books. I tend to shy away from them because sometimes they can be a little cheesy, a little corny. But this one is very well written. The main character, I really like her. Her name is Lowen. She's a struggling writer who doesn't really do all that well in writing. And then the other character, Verity, which is obviously the title of the book, she's a very successful author. Don't want to give too much away, but Lowen gets hired by Verity's husband to finish the series that Verity was writing. Lowen moves in, and just, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Lowen, I don't want to give too much away other than Lowen uncovers something that she probably should not have, and that's what then leads to a lot of, let's just say the author does a really good job at making us question a lot of things after the main character finds something that she should not have. I highly recommend reading this book. I am enjoying it thus far, even though I am halfway through it. I hope to finish it soon because it is really, really good. But yeah, I recommend this book. And the next 3 books on my TBR list is It Happened One Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, and My Killer Vacation, all from the same author, Tessa Bailey. I've heard good things about this author. I've heard lots of good things about these 2 books. It's just this duology. From what I've heard about this one, obviously all 3 of them are romance novels. This one, what did some people call it? I think it was, if I remember, it was Enemies to Lovers or something like that. Book 2, Please Don't Come For Me. All I know is that I've heard a lot of good things about this book. And same thing with this one. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. This one is Friends to Lovers, small town romance and whatnot. So I've heard good things about these 2 books. And they're both summer books, so that's why I picked them up. That's why I want to read them. They're both summer books. And I've also heard lots of good things about this author. So I want to give this author a try. I also want to read books that take place in the summer because duh, it's summertime right now. So these 2 books I definitely want to read. I'm really excited about these. And then the other one, My Killer Vacation, I don't really know too much about. All I know from reading the backside is the main character, like she goes on a vacation after saving up money to be able to go. And I guess she meets somebody. That's as much as I know about this book because I think this one recently came out. So there are not many people, I'm surprised that not many people are talking about this book. But yes, I am excited to read this author, to read these books. Again, like I said, all of these books are very much like summer themed or take place in the summer. And I want to finish the summer by reading summer related books. And of course, I plan on reading the other books that I talked about in the video that I made a month ago, which was The Spanish Love Deception, The Hating Game, The Fine Prince, and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I plan on reading those as well, especially since they are standalone books. It shouldn't take me too long to get through all of them within like these next few months. And yeah, that is my updated summer reading list. It's raining outside. I wonder if you guys can hear the thunder. Probably not. But yes, that is my updated summer reading list. Let me know what you guys think of my reading list. Let me know if you guys have read any of the books that I mentioned, whether the ones that I showed just now or the ones that I mentioned, aka The Hating Game, The Spanish Love Deception, The Fine Print, and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Let me know if you guys have read any of those. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please give it a like, leave me a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Click that notification bell so that way you guys are notified whenever I post a brand new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!